The transfer portal is already absolutely crazy. Ladies and gentlemen, today I'm going to be going through about 5 or 6 different quarterbacks and giving my projection on where I think they're going to be going. There's already been rumors on some of these guys. You've got multiple former 5-star QBs already into the portal. Not too many great position players just yet. Mainly it's just the quarterbacks, but we will begin with Riley Leonard, a very interesting dual threat quarterback from Duke. His stats are not going to look very good, just the 3 passing touchdowns, the 3 interceptions, but he was a lot better than the stats show. Almost like Josh Allen-esque. He had Duke out to about a 5-0 start. Unfortunately, he gets injured. Duke's season kind of goes through a tailspin with him out. But right now, you're looking at Notre Dame as the favorite. They've already received some predictions from analysts, recruiting analysts. And then you also do have possibly Auburn there as well. But Riley Leonard right now looks like Notre Dame. Think about what Notre Dame's done. Last year, they get the 4-star transfer, grad transfer, Sam Hartman, all of the experience. He has a pretty good season. Notre Dame did lose 3 games, although they could have very easily beaten Ohio State to go 10-2. That would have been a lot better. And then this year, possibly getting Riley Leonard. So Notre Dame using some of these schools as feeder systems, and it does look like they are the favorite for Riley Leonard, who should be a very interesting fit there, although Notre Dame needs to be concerned right now because they are losing multiple receivers in the transfer portal. We will see if they can replace them. They do have a really good running back right now, Riley Leonard, possibly considering Notre Dame as the front runner, with Auburn being the secondary option. The next quarterback, it is DJ Uiagalelei, the transfer quarterback from Oregon State. Not surprised. Actually, you know what? I take that back. I'm surprised he actually has eligibility left, but there's another guy who's doing the thing where they will transfer to a school, and then because they're 4-year players, they can use that 5th year because of the pandemic, and because it's a grad transfer, they can transfer again with 0 penalty. So DJ Uiagalelei is at Clemson, transfers to Oregon State for 1 year, and now because it's a grad transfer, can transfer again with 0 penalty. Folks, this is free agent college football right now. It is crazy. Right now, we've been hearing rumors, possibly teams like Michigan State, Jonathan Smith, obviously the former Oregon State coach. You're looking at possibly Oregon being a fit, although I do think Oregon's going to go for a different type of transfer portal QB, maybe someone that costs a little bit more than DJ Uiagalelei to make sure their program is still good next year, considering they're moving to the Big Ten. Maybe they have DJ as kind of a backup plan because he was pretty good for Oregon State. He kind of tailed off there at the end, but this is a former 5-star. This dude is girthy. He's a big boy. He can run like a 3rd and 3, 3rd and 2. If he gets to a good team with a loaded offensive line, he will be impossible to stop on 3rd and 4th and short. And then the other team I've got right now, FSU possibly in the mix. They're going to be losing Jordan Travis. Could they be going after someone like DJ Uiagalelei? It really wouldn't surprise me. Right now, I would say the favorite possibly is Michigan State based on the Jonathan Smith connection, although that's just an educated guess right now. I know Michigan State is possibly in on another quarterback I'm going to be talking about, but DJ Uiagalelei certainly is a solid option for a team, considering he just had a relatively good breakout year with Oregon State, and he's a grad transfer. He's got experience starting at multiple different Power 5 schools. The next one, and this takes the cake right now, is the number 1 transfer portal QB. It's Dante Moore. The former 5-star had a crazy recruitment originally from Michigan. Michigan was actually the early favorite. Michigan State was also in on him. He commits to Oregon. He ends up flipping to UCLA. It's total NIL. He has a pretty bad true freshman season at UCLA with just 11 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, very bad completion percentage. But I think Dante Moore is he's going to be an absolute stud. He's a 5-star. He's got a great arm talent. And really, when it comes to true freshman QBs, you can't expect much from them anyways. The team I would put here as a dark horse, Ohio State. We saw Ryan Day do this about 4 years ago with Justin Fields. Now, Justin Fields was probably a little bit more talented than Dante Moore, but Dante Moore still fits the bill as kind of a C.J. Stroud type quarterback, drop back pocket passer with a really good, deep ball, very good arm talent. He kind of reminds me of C.J. Stroud a little bit. I could see Ohio State splurging on Dante Moore, considering their current quarterback situation is extremely unknown with, Kyle McCord possibly transferring. I'm going to talk about him next, because at this point, if you are Ohio State, you've already wasted one season with McCord. You can't waste another. So I think Ohio State, they're going to be a threat for Dante Moore, the former 5-star. You're also looking at FSU and Oregon as the two other main threats. FSU is going to go for a big-time transfer. And by the way, let me throw in another team. Could LSU be interested in someone like Dante Moore? Maybe Michigan State as well. I've heard them rumored. I would be very surprised. I think Dante Moore wants to go somewhere where he will be insulated with an elite offense. That can happen at Ohio State when you've got players like Carnell Tate and Brandon Inniss already on the roster. They recruit very well. Also, FSU is really good at getting transfers. They are losing their top two receivers, Johnny Wilson and Keon Coleman, to the draft, but they will probably get a good transfer receiver. I think like him possibly going to Michigan, because I know Michigan's probably going to need a quarterback, depending on if J.J. McCarthy comes back or not. He's probably not coming back. He's likely going to be a first-round pick. I don't think Dante Moore is going to seriously consider Michigan because of their lack of skill position players, but they will probably be in the market for a transfer portal QB. Their situation also depends on the penalties they will be facing. That might hinder them in trying to get a quarterback. But right now, Dante Moore, I would say Ohio State or possibly Oregon as two potential landing spots. He can start next year right away. He's already got experience. He's good to go, kind of like a Justin Fields situation. Even better, though, because Justin Fields really never started at Georgia. We will see. The next transfer portal quarterback, it is Grayson McCall. This is another guy. I am just completely shocked Grayson McCall has any eligibility left, but apparently he has one more season, and this could go any sort of way. Right now, I would say maybe a team like Mississippi State for Grayson McCall, maybe Auburn if they're unable to, attract Riley Leonard. He's probably their top option right now. Maybe they go for someone like Grayson McCall. McCall seemingly is kind of trending downward over the past few years. He had that breakout 2020 season with Coastal Carolina, but recently it hasn't been as good. Obviously, Coastal Carolina isn't that talented, but I could see Grayson McCall going to a middling SEC program. Next, it is Kyle McCord. So, I'm guessing Ohio State, Ryan Day is going to tell Kyle McCord, listen, bud, you had your chance. You've been here for 3 years. It's not going to happen. And Kyle McCord, it's not that he's a bad quarterback, but certainly at Ohio State, there's a standard. And quite frankly, he just didn't live up to the standard. It is what it is. He has concrete feet. You see the game against Michigan. You watch the tape. It's really bad. He missed multiple receivers running down wide open. The terrible interception early on in it. And I do expect Kyle McCord to possibly transfer out. Ohio State will probably just say, listen, you're not going to be the starter here next year. I would expect Kyle McCord possibly to go to a team like Pittsburgh. He's from Pennsylvania, maybe Pittsburgh, or maybe a team like Boston College. Syracuse also could be an option for Kyle McCord, or maybe even Auburn. If an SEC team wants to take a chance on him. McCord isn't terrible, but certainly for an Ohio State quarterback, I do think they'll move on. Not necessarily with Dante Moore. Maybe they'll stay in-house with Devin Brown or Lincoln Kienholz. One of those two guys could be the starter. We will see. The next guy, it is Will Howard. So Will Howard, the transfer quarterback from Kansas State, really nice season. K-State had a good year. Will Howard was impressive. Right now, I'm going to say Michigan for Will Howard. Michigan, again, very likely needing a quarterback. It'll be interesting to see what happens in terms of the NCAA investigation. That could really cloud them and, trying to get transfer players. Players may not want to take the chance of going to Michigan if they do get hit with a bowl ban, but I do like Will Howard as a QB. I think he could go to a team like Michigan and do relatively well. It's kind of a game manager or even like an upper echelon game manager. Like Will Howard, I'm not going to say he's as good as J.J. McCarthy, but he's a good college quarterback. Like, I don't think Michigan would suffer that much from Will Howard being there. Maybe he's not as mobile, but that Michigan offense operates really well just running the ball anyway, so he really would only have to be a game manager. We will see. The next QB, it is Will Rogers. So Will Rogers from Mississippi State. Kind of a letdown year for him. Everyone thought he was, you would think a 4-year player, he would do well, but Mississippi State had a really bad year. They fired their head coach. I put Cincinnati for Will Rogers. I really don't know. I could see a number of different places, but I would assume maybe like a bottom tier, either ACC team or Big 12 team. Maybe he goes to a team like Fresno State, a top-of-the-line Group of 5 team, but Will Rogers, that's kind of my expectation right now in terms of where I see him trending to, because he's obviously going to want to start with 1 year remaining, and if you transfer to a top-of-the-line, Big 10 team, SEC team, it's just not going to happen. Like, I don't think Michigan would want Will Rogers. He just wasn't very good last year. So I would say, maybe a team like Cincinnati takes a chance. I know they had Emory Jones. I would guess he'd be graduated, and maybe he goes there. But either way, right now I would say I would expect Riley Leonard to go to Notre Dame. DJ Uiagalelei, I would say possibly Michigan State, Oregon, FSU, all in the mix. It depends with FSU and Oregon, whether or not they make a run at Dante Moore, because I expect them to both be involved with Dante Moore, possibly LSU also involved with Dante Moore, as well as Ohio State. And then you've got Grayson McCall possibly going to like a bottom tier SEC team, staying in that region of the country. Will Howard possibly looking at a team like Michigan, depending on what happens with them. But either way, guys, those are just some of the top transfer QBs and where I think they're going. That's going to do it for this video. Make sure you follow me on X. Link to that's always in the description.